Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. It's Bez34 here, and today I'm going to be talking about the new SCR 1.9 update. This video will be broken up into two parts, an update overview and my thoughts on the update. So without further ado, let's get started. Here's a brief overview of the changes. To start, Newry Harbor, Newry, and Eden Quay have been updated. A new siding at Newry has been added, and Faraday Road TMD has been updated. Express has been extended to Newry Harbor, adding 4 more stops, which are Newry Harbor, Newry, Eden Quay, and Wester Coast. They also added 4 new routes, one of which being exclusive to the Class 220. They now allow Express to stop at Benton and Morganstown on the same route, with a reconfiguration of the Morganstown docks to Morganstown flyover. There are also a few other smaller things that I will put up on the screen right now. But without further ado, let's get on to a more in-depth look of the update. I'm now going to go more in-depth with the upgraded stations. We'll start with Newry Harbor. Newry Harbor is still a single track approach, but is now 2 platforms. It has a large cruise ship dock beside it, and it has nice long platforms so it can fit the 2+5 car HST. The station building looks like an older structure, but it does have a nice indoor waiting room. It is fully wheelchair accessible, and it looks like it could handle some tourist crowds. Just outside the station, there is a freight area with the track branching off just before the station. This might just be some scenery. It could also be a meme for freight at this point, but it may actually be a chance for freight to come into the game. I do quite like the station upgrade, and it is much better than before. But now, let's move on to the next station, which is Newry. Newry has been widened a bit to accommodate for the unused passing tracks in the middle. These passing tracks aren't used by Express yet, so they might be used by freight in the future. The platforms have been elongated for the long express trains, and the station has a nice footbridge that reminds me of the one at Wester Coast. It shares a similar design to Newry Harbor, but on a bit bigger scale. The station now has 3 platforms instead of 4 like it used to have. All of the platforms are terminating, with 2 of them being bi-directional. Just after the station, the tracks converge into one to go to Newry Harbor, and closer to Eden Quay, the track splits into a straight and a tunnel to make room for a small siding with the Class 68 and a Class 143. Overall, the upgrade is okay, but I would have liked to see more platforms for Express, as there were long delays when I was playing the new update. I think it's time to move on to Eden Quay. Eden Quay is quite a bit different now, as they actually raised all of the stations past it. Instead of being on the water with the rainbow buildings like it used to be, it's now higher than the water with houses and shops surrounding it. And just after it, there's a long viaduct that passes over the water. The old rainbow buildings did give this station a unique vibe, and they didn't completely erase them, but I would have liked to see kind of a crossover of the old scenery and the new. The general station reminds me a bit of East Barely, with the paths to the platforms. My final thoughts on the station: I like the old scenery better, but the new station design is much nicer than the old grey color scheme. All in all, I think it will fit quite well with the new branch. I'm now going to talk briefly about the upgraded Faraday Road Depot. The Faraday Road Depot was the last old-style depot in the game. The new one, on the other hand, looks really nice with all of the tracks for some static trains to go on and the sheds for the trains to be worked on. The upgrade also features the capability to return to the depot after you finish your route. That's it for the station depot / upgrades. Let's go and talk about the routes. With the express extension to Newry, they obviously had to add new routes. In this update, they added 4 of them. The 4 routes are Benton to Llyn, Newry to Leighton City, which is a 220 exclusive route, Newry Harbor to Llyn, and Newry to Llyn. If you drive the Newry to Llyn route, then you get the ability to stop at Benton and Morganstown on the same route by using the Morganstown shuttle tracks. And on this route, you also gain the ability to stop at Wester Coast, which is a new station on Express. With the 220 exclusive route, Newry to Leighton City, you get to stop at Eden Quay, as well as Benton, Leighton Stefford Road, and Leighton City. All of the routes except for Newry to Leighton City can be driven by the 2+5 car HST. Here are my thoughts on the routes. First, I think that more of these should stop at Morganstown, and second, I think that they should have added a route to West Wyvern. Okay, Now we will move on to my thoughts on this update and why I think it's SCR's worst update. Before we start, I would like to say that this is my opinion, and you're entitled to your own opinion. So if you think differently, please don't yell at me in the comments section. Okay, I think version 1.9 is SCR's worst update, and here's why. Reason number 1. When they extended Express to Newry, they should have made separate tracks for it so that the trains can go at full speed and not get held back by any waterline trains. If they made a separate line, they could run it either alongside the waterline tracks. They could have even made the part where the tracks split outside Newry double on both sides and had Express run through a separate tunnel that goes around the waterline tracks. Reason number 2. They didn't change the waterline network at all to accommodate for Express. For the majority of the trip on the waterline network, the speed limit is just very low and is quite painful to drive on. Reason number 3. The update was quite small in size compared to other updates like 1.8 or 1.7. 1.9 doesn't seem like a big enough update to get a whole new version, but it is also too big of an update to get a patch like 1.8.5. I think 1.9 was supposed to be a larger update, but they called it short, maybe because of the player base slowly declining, so they wanted to add something that would bring the players back. This point perfectly segues into my next reason. Reason 4. The update looked quite rushed, as there could have been more improvements like I stated above, that were overlooked to just get the update out. Also, if the devs didn't rush the update, then they might have tested the flow of traffic going in and out of Newry Harbor, or the signal block that's just too small outside of Newry sidings. They're the reasons why I think version 1.9 is SCR's worst update. And also, again, I want to say that this is my opinion and I'm not hating on the devs, but I do think they could have done a better job in this instance. But I think that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Like, subscribe, and goodbye!